those are my bunching onions, but I don't have a use for them at the moment. So I added 1 cup of kelp meal, 1 cup of alfalfa meal, and 1 cup of composted chicken manure. It's been sitting out for, I think, a year. So this is day 1. I'm just gonna stir this every day for a few days. I used water that I let sit out for 24 hours to let the chlorine evaporate. And that's about it. Plant food. I'm gonna put these eggshells in it. And you should check in your locality because sometimes there are places where people can drop pots. So this is where I've been getting some of my pots. Some of them are broken. Don't think I can use any of these. Lots of 1 gallons. I've got plenty of those. And, some of them are 2 gallons. I got a lot of 2 gallons too. But sometimes I'll get something really good. No 5 gallons today. Okay. But still, you should check. And there are some free pallets over here too. So, yeah. Can you hear the voices of the angels singing blessings proudly through the air? Can you hear the angels forming, making sure that God receives our prayers? Here's some borage at a community garden in my town. The next minute will be shots from that community garden, and you'll see the different gardening strategies and techniques of the people that have their space there. It was really inspiring to visit and feel the gardening spirit of the season. It also helped me expand on my options with accompanying epiphanies that broadened the spectrum of choices that I had in my gardening. Seeing the many ways that one plant can grow was useful for me so that I could apply what works for me in the future or make modifications respectively. I saw the different ways people bordered beds, made paths, trellised, and added their personal touch to their gardens. I thought this setup was very interesting, but I imagine it must cast a lot of shade. People fence their gardens with cattle panels, chicken wire, and that ugly plastic fencing. I saw some wire hoop shelters, which I expect was to deter birds. They also had a little shelter for mason bees. I definitely suggest visiting your local community gardens if you ever need inspiration for yours. Heck yeah, it is. So I have some alfalfa meal and the kelp meal, and I want to mix that in with some soil that I put where my squash is over there, and I want to plant my squash today. Alright, I just planted all these squashes in. We've got a yellow crookneck and zucchini, and then those 2 are butternut squash, and that's an Orient Express cucumber. So I'm going to water these in and say a little prayer that they don't get powdery mildew. Lastly, I want to share some of these flower pots I put together whilst working at a greenhouse. I very much enjoyed working with flowers and gained a powerful appreciation for them. It's a very therapeutic activity that lets you be the creator of the energy that will excite the reaction of its next viewer. The arrangement and type of flowers can change emotion by bringing a joy or clarity to which the viewer may become present in that moment through the senses. Looking back at this video, What I would have done differently is I would have added some of my unfinished compost in around my squash at the early stages of planting, because I learned later that squash actually like unfinished compost, and I noticed early on that my squash wasn't getting enough food and nutrition, so that would have been super helpful if I would have done that at the beginning. I also got my starts from a greenhouse, and as you may know, sometimes greenhouse crops are forced to grow more slowly in order to have a timely production, so by the time you actually get them transplanted, their stunted growth can cause growing complications. Or I didn't give them enough food, or transplanted them at the wrong time. So this is where I'm at in my gardening journey. Good luck with your gardens. Buy local, grow food not lawns, and make gardening common knowledge by sharing what you've learned. May the force be with you. Live long and prosper.